We got breaking news, everyone. The Federal Reserve, yes, the Fed, they have just confirmed they are working with Ripple. I'm going to say that again. The Federal Reserve, the Fed, has confirmed they are working with Ripple. You can feel it. The tone, the vibes, it has all shifted. The liquidity flood we've been waiting for, it isn't coming someday. It's building right now. And if you're not paying attention to what's happening behind the scenes with the XRP ecosystem, you're going to miss the biggest wealth transfer of our lifetime. Pay attention, everyone. Without further ado, we got a lot to cover. Let's jump into it. Bitcoin, $109,338. It's currently up 1.23%. ETH coming in at 3,871. It is up 0.86%. XRP down a tad bit since this morning from a whole $2.40 to $2.39. It is down 0.12%. Total cryptocurrency market cap coming in at 3.69 trillion. Now, folks, I post my deep dives. I post the insider level breakdowns that you'll never see on YouTube inside my free newsletter. So make sure you get up on over there. Link is in the description. Hit that join newsletter button. And if you're looking for those 101 signups, next week is the earliest spot available. You don't need to hold a minimum amount of crypto, folks. That's nonsense. If you need to know how to structure it, LLCs, tax advantages, you name it, OTCs, whatever you need, these calls are all tailored to you. There is no set script. There is no set, what do you talk about on these calls, Rip? Because you dictate that. I just give you the answers and I give you the connections where possible. If you need a tax account, I got one too that's local that I play ball with that does my taxes and I put other people onto. And yes, he can work anywhere within the United States, folks. He's a licensed accountant. You got to get the call booked. Let's do a little Bitcoin TA while we're here. Obviously, you know, Bitcoin, it controls the market. It leads the market. You can see we are sitting above our latest support region, coming in around 108. We do have some room to move to a massive support hurdle, sitting between 111 and 114. Once that is done, your key area on Bitcoin, I mean, it's just sitting right here. It is this massive red region. 126,000 needs to break. When 126 breaks, it's game on. It is go time. That is how you know Bitcoin's about to make that run, 140 to 170, maybe even a 200,000. I do believe we are waiting on, well, not only the government to reopen, but to get some more news in regards to Bitcoin and what is going to go on from the big boys, from the large institutions. And then we get this Ripple stablecoin. A lot of people sleeping on this. But RLUSD has now officially crossed over a $100 million market cap on the XRP ledger. Let's not mistake this. That's not hype. That's utility. When the stablecoins start moving size on XRP, well, it means rails are being used. We're no longer talking about a theory here. We are talking about throughput, settlement, and liquidity, all happening in real time. The XRP ledger, it hit a milestone that positioned it directly in line with the Fed's own digital payment structure lookalike, right? And then we get this, 11 XRP treasury companies. Obviously, Evernorth is gonna be your biggest at 1 billion, folks, which is wild. But let this sink in for a second. You have 11 XRP treasury companies. These are real firms holding XRP on their balance sheets. You have 20, I believe it was 23 ETFs. You have 2023, I showed in the first video, ETFs that are waiting for approval. We have 11 treasury companies holding XRP on their books. These numbers are just going to keep growing. And you know what happens when they keep buying XRP and putting it on their books and holding it? You get a supply shock, and then the supply starts to run out on OTC. Then OTC is forced to go to the public order books. And the public order books, they start to run low and the price starts to move. And you want to talk about a revaluation of the price of XRP? That's how you get it. They're distributing XRP here across these corporate treasuries to build liquidity depth across these jurisdictions. It's what the Fed would do if it wanted to bridge assets directly for its institutional corridors. Then we get this, Van Eck. Remember, Van Eck is working with Ripple and BlackRock. Do not forget that. So step back for a second and look at the macro view here. Van Eck is one of the most respected ETF managers on the planet. And they said, we have a model that assumes that by 2050, Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset held by central banks at a 2% weight. In that model, they landed at a 3 million price target for Bitcoin, folks. 3 million. Listen to this.
We have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme. So into the millions over the medium term is a high conviction call.
So ask yourself, if Bitcoin is being modeled as a reserve asset, what happens to the assets designed to move those reserves? XRP doesn't need to be a store of value. It is the transfer of value. And that makes it even more important in a world of tokenized assets. And I want to remind you how big this is. T. Rowe Price. T. Rowe Price, they filed for an active crypto ETF. That's your knockout punch. This is one of the largest and oldest fund managers in the business. And they all started super conservative with mutual funds, and now they are getting into crypto. That tells you that the rails are ready. They just need the green light. And then we get this from Anthony Welfare. This is massive. Here's the setup that's keeping the bears asleep, but it's right in front of us. Once the Fed starts cutting rates, and we could be looking at rate cuts, I believe next week would be the announcement if we get it, trillions of dollars need a new home. I mean, we're talking here pension funds, we're talking about money markets and institutional cash, all looking for yield in an era where bonds are cooked. The crypto market today, it's only $3.6 trillion total. So even if a small fraction of that liquidity migrates into digital assets, the numbers just don't rise. They absolutely explode. And where does that liquidity go first? Well, it's going to go into assets that have compliance, that have real-time settlement and partnerships already in place. And you guessed it, that is XRP. And then we get this, Mr. Man put this out. The moment everyone has been waiting for. This isn't speculation anymore. The Federal Reserve in their own documentation confirmed that they are working with Ripple. I'll blow it up on your screen. This is, you can see in the upper right-hand corner, Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, dialogue with the Fed. It states down here, together with Ripple. There you go, right? Let that sink in now. So the same institution that sets the tone for global monetary policy is aligned with the company behind XRP, the only asset positioned for instant cross-border settlement at scale. They didn't pick Ripple here by accident, folks. They picked them because XRP's design, it solves the problem that they actually created. Fractured liquidity, slow rails, and outdated settlement. This is it. The convergence between a monetary policy and blockchain infrastructure. And XRP, it is sitting dead center. We're watching the reset in real time. We are a part of it. We're never going to be able to say that again. The transition from speculative crypto to institutional grade rails. Bitcoin is being modeled as a reserve asset. XRP, it is becoming the bridge between them all. This isn't about if, it's about when. It is going to happen. XRP's price is going to go up. We know it's worth more than way more than $2.40. And it is going to become that bridge asset that is used around the world. Think about that for a second. Think about everything that is in the pipelines. And what are they doing currently? They're distracting you with the price. I've said it before and I'll keep on saying it. I will not sell a single XRP until these ETFs are up and running. We have come so far. And the end goal when getting into this thing was for the institutions to be getting in and to be promoting my bag. Well, as soon as that government reopens, hopefully the first couple of weeks within November, the Fed, or excuse me, the SEC is going to approve those ETFs. When those ETFs get approved, we can finally start seeing money rotating into XRP. And that's when the institutions, they become our cheerleaders and they are working for us and they are pumping our XRP bags. That is what I am waiting for. That is the start of everything that is to come. So drop a comment if you've been here since under $1 and subscribe, because the next phase, folks, it's not about hype. I want to make that clear. It is about validation, and XRP, it just got it. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch all y'all in the next one.